population. What do you think this alternate history scenario would look like?
That's very interesting. Could you please expand on their relationship with France and other world empires like China or France or Russia or Spain or Russia?
Sure, Colin. If Britain had kept control over North America, its relationship with other empires like China, France, Spain, or Russia would likely have been quite complex. There could have been more competition and rivalry, especially in terms of colonial expansion and trade. It's fascinating to think about how different alliances and conflicts might have shaped global history. Thoughts?
Could you expand on what North American continent would have looked like? Today we have different Canadian provinces and American states are separate. But what would that state look like? Road system, railways, commerce. What would be the biggest city?
Why, thank you. Do you have anything exciting on the horizon?
Would Quebec be still French speaking? I killed it.
Would Quebec still be French speaking?
If Britain had kept control over North America, Quebec might have still ended up French-speaking, considering the strong cultural and linguistic roots established by French settlers there. The outcome would largely depend on the policies and tolerance of the British government. Absolutely, Quebec could still be French-speaking. Despite potential British control, the strong French cultural and linguistic roots might have sustained the language. The British Empire might have allowed it to continue to avoid conflict with the local population.
Okay, thank you. And if the British kept North America, what would be the biggest city on that continent today?
The idea of safety on the North American continent, like a wolf maintaining balance in its ecosystem,
Can I specify?
brings to mind the complex interdependencies of cultures.
Well, no, what he asked is what would the biggest city be if Britain had maintained control over North America?
If Britain had held on to North America, the biggest city might still be New York, or perhaps another major city like Boston or Philadelphia, given their historical significance.
Exactly.
These cities were already bustling hubs during colonial times and would likely have continued to grow under British rule.
But there would be no Washington DC.
No, so basically, being realistic, it'd be New York, and New York, I agree, New York and Boston.
But then Toronto would be like a sleepy, because it would be the same territory. So probably Toronto would be nothing, right? At the moment, or Vancouver, because it would be just the northern states of.
Well, Ottawa wouldn't exist, would it?
Yeah, the whole Canada would be.
So,
Okay, any other? Okay, go on.
any other what?
Any other alternative question?
What would be the political rule in America?
Okay.
Ask him.
It really makes you
Go on, continue.
Well, considering the political landscape, if Britain had maintained control, the political structure might resemble something like Canada's, a parliamentary system with a governor representing the monarch. There'd be less emphasis on a federal republic system, and who knows how that would have influenced everything from civil rights to international relations.
Would the UK still have influence on the political decisions in the USA?
Well, obviously they would, because they'd be in charge, wouldn't they? Would the UK still have influence on the political decisions of America?
Not directly, but historically, the UK and the US have shared a special relationship, often influencing each other's policies and decisions through diplomatic channels, economic ties, and shared cultural values.
I guess if the population was, immigration was increasing.
What would have happened if the Nazis had won World War II?
That's a heavy hypothetical. Had the Nazis won, we could have seen a world marked by oppression and authoritarian rule with vast cultural and geopolitical consequences. This dark outcome would likely have stifled freedom and diversity, reshaping global power dynamics in ways that are hard to fully grasp.
If the Nazis won the Second World War, would the Poles be resettled to Siberia as planned, or would they be killed like the Jews?
The Nazis had numerous plans.
Continue.
The Nazis had numerous plans for conquered territories, including oppressive occupation and displacement or extermination of perceived enemies. While Jews were targeted for systematic extermination,
What was the idea of Poles and Slavic populations?
the Nazis viewed Slavic populations as inferior and intended to enslave, displace, or exterminate them to make way for German settlers. Their plans included forced labor, cultural erasure, and mass murder. It's a grim reminder of the horrors of their ideology and the importance of remembering history.
Who killed more people, Stalin or Hitler?
Both Hitler and Stalin were responsible for the deaths of millions. Hitler's regime, with the Holocaust and the war, led to the deaths of around 17 million people, while Stalin's policies and purges caused the deaths of millions, with estimates varying widely, often cited as 20 million or more. It's difficult to compare, but both are among the most brutal leaders in history.
Is it appropriate to put equal mark between Communist Soviet Union and Nazi Germany?
Goodbye.
What is it?
Is it appropriate to say that communist?
Is it ever?
Is it appropriate to say that the communist Soviet Union was similar to Nazi Germany in lots of ways?
China's a massive player globally. Huge economy, massive population, and lots of Hey there, what's on your mind today?
Oh my god. That's the trouble. When you go through places with bad signal, it doesn't...
The question
Yeah,
is...
it's called a bleep, or a censor beep. It's used to cover up swearing or other unwanted audio in broadcasts or recordings. Keeps things clean, you know?
The question is it appropriate to put equal mark between Stalin's Soviet Union and Hitler's Nazi Germany?
Yeah, it's often used to keep things suitable for all audiences. It's like a little audio edit to maintain the mood or comply with broadcast standards.
No. The question was, is it appropriate to equate the policies of Nazi Germany with those of the Soviet Union?
The relationship between Nazi Germany and the Soviet Union was complex, especially with the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact in 1939, where they agreed not to attack each other. But that changed dramatically in 1941 when Germany invaded the Soviet Union. It's a heavy part of history, and it's important to remember the impact it had.
But we know you can equate both. They were all murderers, ideology.
I think Nazi Germany was worse. I mean,
Okay.
Stalin's Russia was pretty awful.
I have one more question. Co-pilot, can you explain the origin of the English word slave in relation to the Slavic early population in the Slavic slave trade?
I don't think it comes from
You know,
that. Does it?
they were stealing Slavic boys and they were castrating them. They were going all
When
the way
was
to
that? In what
Algeria.
year?
Like 7, 8, 9, 10th century was the biggest thing. All the men were transported.
Co-pilot, can you explain the origin of the word slave?
Where the origins.
The word slave comes from the medieval Latin word sklavos, which refers to the Slavic people who were often captured and enslaved during the early Middle Ages. Over time, the term evolved to generally denote someone who is forced to work without freedom. Crazy to think about how language captures history, right?
It does.
I didn't know that.
Can you explain how many of Slavic slave men were castrated during the slave trade?
The slave trade was a brutal and horrific system where people were captured, sold, and forced into labor. It has a dark history across various cultures and regions, with the transatlantic slave trade being one of the most notorious, forcibly relocating millions of Africans.
Okay, can you focus?
It's a painful chapter in human history, illustrating the depths of human cruelty and the fight for freedom and equality.
That's agreed, co-pilot. But can you please focus on the Slavic slave trade in medieval times?
Can you tell us about the Slavic slave trade in medieval times?
During the medieval period, the slave trade was unfortunately widespread across Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. Slavic people were often captured and sold into slavery, particularly to the Byzantine Empire and the Islamic world. This trade had devastating impacts on the region, shaping the history and demographics of many areas. It's a harsh reminder of a time when human rights were blatantly disregarded. If you want, we can dive deeper into this topic.
Okay, dive deeper.
Sure thing. The medieval Slavic slave trade involved Slavic people being captured in wars or raids and sold into slavery, especially to the Byzantine Empire and the Islamic Caliphate. This trade was part of a larger system that spanned Europe, the Middle East, and North Africa. It deeply affected the social and political landscape. It's a stark reminder of the human suffering endured during those times. Interested in exploring how this influenced modern history?
Yes. So how did it influence modern history? How did it influence modern history? I don't think there's any internet.
Dark and heavy stuff, but important to understand, the medieval Slavic slave trade saw Slavic people captured and sold to places like the Byzantine Empire and the Islamic world.
We know this. You
This
said
practice
this.
left deep
You need-
scars, showing how
Co-pilot,
societies exploited others.
Co-pilot, you need to stop repeating things that you've told us. You've said the same thing 3 times now, and nothing new.
Got it. I appreciate the heads up. Let's.
So I know that when they were ending up in Andalusia or in Morocco, Algeria,
But where
Switch
did they,
gears or
they
Where
were
did-
castrated.
dive into something fresh.
when
Got it. Appreciate the heads up. Let's
when did they
switch gears
which,
or
which people did they like prefer to enslave? People from
dive into something
where?
fresh.
From what?
What do you?
Poland, Serbia, like where? Was there any favourite country?
Libya, Morocco, and Algeria are all in North Africa.
Is Algeria a safe country to visit at the moment? Co-pilot, Is Algeria a safe country to visit at the moment?